Thank you for being at OpenSearch Con. So what is the topic, right? I just have 20 minutes. I will not bother you with a lot of stuff, right? So how do we scale OpenSearch across an enterprise, right? That is sort of the concept here. And once I go through the slides, you will kind of learn more. So what do? I basically work in a Big Four consulting organization. I lead a platform engineering org there. I have roughly 14 years of experience. I'm part of the CNCF platform working group, and I do a lot of other stuff here and there. You can reach out to me if you want. Again, this is just a disclaimer slide just to protect me from the lawyers. It is saying that this is what I am talking about, nothing to do with my company in any shape or fashion. So very simply, what is we are going to some context setting, because context is always important, right? Because you are hearing so many talks, right? One talk about this, another talk about this, kind of grounding. And even if you take 3 to 4 key things is enough, right? Especially in this sort of events. From one talk, if you take at least 1 or 2 things, that is, I think, more than enough. Then section 2 will be platform engineering, and then section 3 is how do we make OpenSearch or even search as a commodity, with some closing thoughts. Okay, let's get started. So let's imagine a day in the life of an engineer. Okay, let's just imagine it for a bit. In a very ideal enterprise, the person is coding in GitHub, very nice. The person deploys the infra on the AWS console, even better. Then he deploys the code using some sort of a CI/CD pipeline, everything done, he enjoys a beer. Awesome, right? That's like kind of the best life that a developer can think of. But unfortunately, enterprises have PhDs in making it difficult for a developer to get their job done. That's the truth. Again, not a startup. Startup is a different sort of a beast. I'm talking about enterprises, 450,000 people org, place where I, for example, work. So it's complicated, right? Enterprises are chaotic. Getting stuff done is complicated. Why do I say that? So if you see, this is a survey that was done by a platform engineering organization, and if you see, how do developers get a new environment or a feature environment? So it is saying that most of the times environments are spun by dedicated DevOps teams. So you need something, it's not like you can go into the console and build it, right? Like you can do in your home laptop. It's like you have to go somewhere and then see, there are some cases where it can be created by developers, but you have to get it approved by an engineering manager. So there is a lot of hurdles to even get a simple VM, simple storage account. I know of teams where if you need a storage account, you have to wait 3 weeks, which is the truth in enterprises, right? Same cases showing here, as you can see, most of the DevOps create them on a case-to-case basis. You need something, you go to your ops team, you ask them, guys, I need this, they will build it for you. So in reality, what happens, right? Even though that was the ideal thing, in reality happens is you start coding on GitHub. Now you need to deploy it somewhere, right? Let's say you need an OpenSearch cluster. You have to raise a request, you will get it in 1 to 2 weeks, your manager kind of goes against you, and finally you quit. Again, we still enjoy the beer, but this time after quitting, right? But that's constant. So again, some of you might think, no, my enterprise is not like that. Could be, right? Then you are some of the lucky ones, but most of the enterprises have failed to provide in a very nice way a habitable environment for developers to build on, right? And as I said, right, if you see lead time, what is lead time? Lead time is I have started coding and the feature I have coded has made it to production, the time between these two. See, there are companies where more than 1 month. There are a lot of companies where they don't even know, right, what is the lead time. Same thing is happening with the deployment frequency. Many people deploy still a few times per year, and which is enough, right? I'm telling you, there are many companies who are still deploying once or twice or thrice a year, because that is the situation there, right? It's very complicated to get stuff done. So same with search based applications. So let's say I'm an engineer, I want to start using search. Most of the applications in some way or the other have some sort of a search, right? If you see in some ways, most of the enterprise applications will have some sort of a search, either searching through your knowledge management repository or whatever. But again, even getting a search based application to work is complicated. What could be some of the issues is like, let's say I'm a developer, I just want to start. I don't know what should I use, what is allowed in my enterprise, right? How do I provision it? How do I procure it, right? What is the most cost effective option? Can I just go to the AWS console and deploy an OpenSearch cluster? If I deploy, do I really need to manage it 24/7? Will I get a call on a Saturday or a Sunday if something goes wrong? So all of these concerns, right, kind of start bugging anybody, right, who is trying to do this. So all of this kind of, if you see the key takeaway message, as I said, right, in this sort of talks, if you can have some sort of a grounding truth. So what I'm trying to say, which is the truth, because I have worked in enterprises all my life, 14, 15 years, enterprise IT is complex and chaotic. That is what enterprise IT is. It is inherently that, like that. Delays are common. So what would have helped a developer if there was a dependable way to get infrastructure? If I could have provided search as a very dependable sort of a thing, I need something, I get it, I don't have to wait 1 to 2 weeks, I know how to do stuff, I get some guidance, I get some best practices, I get some patterns, all of that would have helped. But at the same time, today most of the enterprises, we are kind of trying to say, based on the surveys and the metrics I showed you, is not doing that. So this is section 1, again just some context setting. Section 2, I want to introduce this concept of platform engineering. Maybe many of you are aware of this, but still it's good to, and these 2 sections will help set the context for section 3, which is the main section. So what is a platform? Okay, again, this is a definition that was from one of the people from ThoughtWorks, Ivan Bocher, but it's like a foundation of self-service, APIs, tools, service, knowledge, many things it is mentioned here. Better we see this view. So what is a platform, right? So let's say, for example, in your company, you are building something, and let's say somebody else in the company is also building something. Both of them need some sort of a logging functionality, right? No enterprise application can go live without some sort of a logging functionality. So let's say you build a full wrapper around Azure Log Analytics or something, and your friend in the other team also does the same. Who loses? The enterprise, because you are doing it again and again and again. Every time you are kind of doing the same thing. Would it not have helped, let's say, for example, if there was a central SRE/observability or whatever team we call it, which provides, let's say, logging as a service, observability as a service, in future network as a service, VM as a service, search as a service, that sort of concepts. So what happens in the platform team, how it differs from some of the standard DevOps practices is, a platform team's customer is the rest of the firm, not the business. We don't care about the business. So as I said, right, I run one of the platform teams at my org. Our customer is the rest of the developers of the org. We just care about them. We want to ensure that they get what they need to build business facing products. So these are the product teams. Many of you might be in one of these teams, right? Building an actual product that a client will use. But to build a product, it's not magic, right? You need stuff. You need a GitHub repository. You need CI/CD pipelines, right? You need some sort of frameworks. You need somewhere to deploy. You might need logging, observability, monitoring, antivirus, many things you will need. All of this, let's say somebody gives to you magically. You just call an API, you get it. That team manages that stuff, manages the patches, all of the stuff, provides guidance. So that is the whole concept of platforms. So how it is different from DevOps? Is it like DevOps is dead, platform engineering? That's not the thing. What I'm trying to say is that these teams will still have DevOps engineers, they will have developers, they will have ops. This team inherently itself will also have developers and ops just to maintain the platform. Only thing what we are saying is the consumer of the platform is the rest of the firm. So whatever we do here at this layer, the rest of the firm consumes to build business facing products. A client will never come and directly consume a platform offering. When I say client, I'm talking about the main business. The main business needs, let's say, a payroll website. That's what a main business needs. They will come to this team, say, guys, can you build a payroll website for me? They will say, yeah man, cool, I will build it. So what do I get the VM? I get it from here. Where do I get the Kubernetes cluster? I get it from here. So that's sort of a concept. So this is very important to kind of acknowledge. So again, as I said, platform engineering is this concept of building platforms. This is kind of, we might have been doing, it is different from the shared services that we used to do, which used to just provide a VM. The main thing is a platform is treated as a product. This is very important. So for example, in the org I belong to, we have a chief product officer for our platform. We publish yearly roadmaps. So if you ask me today, I can show you the full roadmap for FY26 up to next May. I have that in my laptop. I can show in that way, right? So we treat it as if it's a product. We don't treat it as a shared service organization. I'm just giving a VM here, a storage account there. No, it's a full-fledged product, and everybody who is building a platform is a platform engineer, and this whole construct of building platforms is called platform engineering, right? Again, very important to set the context. Platform engineering teams are building platforms. These are internal platforms, not used by direct clients. Direct clients comes to an organization or an IT team or a development team to build business facing products. Those business facing products will need some, let's say, common components of sorts, right, to build the product. That is what this platform team will give to them. Okay. Now a platform team, to do that, it will have a lot of stuff, right? It will have developer plane, security plane. Again, no need to go through that. You can just search what is a platform, digital platform, and you will get a lot of details. Now, why is platform engineering kind of the craze, right? And for example, we did a survey, right? And platform engineers today are getting, let's say, 1.5 times the salary of a standard DevOps engineer. So if a standard DevOps engineer is getting 20 lakh rupees, a platform engineering is getting 30 lakh. Why? Because it is a lot of hype now. And why people are saying platform engineering is cool is because today developers have a lot of cognitive load. What is cognitive load? Cognitive load is the load that you take on yourself when you develop. So when I started in 2012, I used to log into my laptop, write a little bit code, log off. Just push to the source control repository. We used to use Perforce. That was the end of the day. We did not care about observability, tracing, all of that. Somebody else will take a CI/CD pipelines, nothing we cared. But now just imagine, you have to care about Kubernetes, deployment.yaml, observability, Agar, injecting correlation ID. It's like completely huge level of, and people are saying, I need a full stack engineer. What does that mean, man? Which human being can kind of keep so much in their mind, right? It's very complicated. So with this concept of platform engineering, you are reducing the cognitive load. As you can see, with time, this has increased. Now the pattern is, how can I reduce the cognitive load so that people really don't have to think about everything. I need a Kubernetes cluster, right? I will get the Kubernetes cluster, somebody will observe it for me or something, and if something goes wrong, tell me. I don't need to learn everything and inject with daemon sets and all of that. Cool thing is that platform engineering as a concept is still relatively new. So it's a good time for anybody to kind of get involved if they want. As you can see, 56% of the platform engineering teams just bit less than 2 years, their whole tenure. We started a little early, but that also 2019-20, not before that in my company. But even more important thing is why I said that it's interesting for anybody to know about is it, people are kind of waking up to this. So this was a survey that was done by Google. Out of 100 companies, let's say they have reviewed 100 companies or 1000, only 8% are saying we have no plans to implement platform engineering. Rest 92% are saying I will adopt, I will implement in some way or the other. Some are very advanced, they are saying I already employ. Some are saying, okay, I'm trying, I'm evaluating. Nobody is saying, no, I don't care. Only these 8 people. So these are the companies you should kind of stay away from, right? Because these are not very good, it seems. But all of those rest 92 companies, right, in a sense are saying, guys, this is important. We will invest time and money and effort in that. So in this section 2, I kind of introduced this concept of platform engineering. This is important for section 3. Why I said this is that, as I said, platforms is an internal construct, it's an internal platform. The rest of the developers are the consumer of a platform. I am a developer, I need an antivirus solution, I need a virtual machine, I need a web app, I need something, I need whatever, I need AutoGen. I go to this sort of an internal developer platform, I say, guys, give me this, they give this to me, I use it. Clients don't come, clients come to me, I will build the application for the client, but to build the application, I need some common concepts, common constructs, common components, the platform will give that to me. Perfect. So now let's think, I told you, right, that initially that it's frustrating to be a developer in an enterprise because it's so complicated, right? And I'm taking search as an example. What if search becomes a commodity? What do I mean by commodity? Commodity is salt. Do you really care, right? You know, every single grocery shop will have salt, right? So if I can make it a commodity, then maybe it will be easy for developers to build search based applications, right? They will really not have to care a lot. So with this concept, we, for example, are thinking about making search a commodity within our organization. But to do that, there is another concept that I want to kind of set the context with, is this concept of multi-tenancy. It is very important to understand. So what happens in multi-tenancy is that a single application or single instance of something is provided as a service to multiple tenants or multiple clients. So how does this look like? This is just an example. There are 3 different this is a crowded slide, but I will very quickly go through this. So one thing you can say is that, okay, I have 3 clients. Let's say, just as an example, Pepsi, Coca-Cola and Nike. And you say, okay, for each of these 3, I completely create a separate application, the entire stack. I give them separate database, separate website, everything. So each of them gets their own thing. This is called a silo multi-tenant model. So every single tenant gets their own full sort of an application stack, end to end. So this tenant is always here, this tenant is always here, everybody is happy. Then if you come here, this is called the bridge multi-tenancy model. What happens here, if you see, the database is still kind of individual. This person, Nike gets their own database, let's say Pepsi gets their own database, Coca-Cola gets their own database, but the website is kind of shared. This is a very, very common model, because this is very costly, right? Because you are now setting up a full-fledged thing for every single customer. When a new customer comes in, you have to again set up another thing. So it's a complicated one. This is a little bit better, and this is like bridge multi-tenancy. This is like the full level of multi-tenancy. You don't even are not even separating the databases. You are saying, okay guys, in the same database, let's say I keep all of the tenants as a schema or as a row or as a table, whatever. So this is like many of the applications do this. This is the most cost effective method. But what is the challenge? Let's say somehow Nike sees Coke's data, right? Because everything is in the same database, right? So there is some challenges here. But anyways, think about this concept. This is a concept of multi-tenancy. You can go into detail later whenever you want. But the idea overall with multi-tenancy is there is a concept of a tenant or client. I am having the same thing and I am now sharing it to anybody, many people, right? Many tenants, and I can share it in different fashion. So what if I could abstract OpenSearch? So OpenSearch is, as I said, right, is a offering which provides search clusters, domains, indexes, right, all of those things. What if I could abstract it at a level so that any developer can come and consume it, right? And I provide it as a multi-tenant offering and I really don't care. So what do I mean by that is, and I will explain to you it a little bit better, but what I'm trying to say is that the best technology is what is invisible technology. That's what Bill Gates used to say, right? You don't even understand that you are using the technology. That is the best. So if I can abstract everything, and my developer really doesn't need to care, right? They just come in and say, okay, I need to do something with search, click a button, get something related to search, start using, deploy, go home, kind of, and enjoy a beer. So this is search as a commodity, right? With search as a commodity, again, what we are doing, we are taking a single OpenSearch cluster that we have provisioned as the platform team, but now we are providing it to multiple application teams. So this is silo model. What I'm doing here, if you can see, I have one OpenSearch domain per tenant. This is one model. You can do this if you want. So let's say if I have 5 teams coming to me, I create 5 domains in an OpenSearch cluster. Basically, right? Kind of that sort of a construct is what I'm trying to say. What I'm doing here, basically I create 5 different OpenSearch cluster domains, but what I'm trying to say here, the tenancy is at a domain level. So every single tenant is getting their own domain. This is one model we can do. What is the other model we can do? We can say no, let's have the same domain, but now let's say for 2 consumers or 2 teams who needs this, I give them 1 index per tenant. So if I have 100 tenants, I give them 100 indexes in the same domain. So this is called again silo model, but 1 index per tenant sort of a thing. Then you can have a pool model. Pool model, as I said, right, is the maximum level of multi-tenancy. You have the same domain and the same index, but now see directly in the data you have infused tenant ID. So again, you are not even giving multiple indexes or multiple domains, you are giving the same thing. But again, all of this, see, these things are not very important, right? Again, I mean, obviously they are important when you implement, but from the perspective of this talk, the idea is more important because you will anyways implement it in your own way if you want to. The idea here is again very simple. We are abstracting search. We are ensuring that every single person now does not have to go in and deploy their own OpenSearch cluster and have to wait 2 to 3 days or weeks sometimes to get it and deploy it, right? So we are abstracting it and we are making it a multi-tenant platform offering. Now that multi-tenancy can be done at multiple levels. That is based on your sort of, as I said, right, you can even combine them. So let's say some team is saying, no guys, I don't want a pooled index. I want 1 silo index. Can you give that to me? So you can say, okay, I will give you 1 domain and 1 index you enjoy. But then there are other people who might say, no, I'm okay. This will be a little bit more costly. This will be a little less costly because at the end of the day, you want to provide different options, multiple options to your customers. But all of this, what I'm trying to say is that at the end of that, so if I go back to this slide, this is very important, right? The final outcome is not to deploy an OpenSearch cluster. The final outcome is not to write some .NET code, calling an OpenSearch API, indexing. No, the final outcome is a business outcome. What does the business care? Does the business really care whether your data is being indexed by an OpenSearch cluster or an Elasticsearch cluster? Business doesn't care. They don't even know. Do we really know when I go to Swiggy, what clustering, what they are using? Nobody knows, very frankly, other than their engineers. So from a developer perspective, a platform engineering also has the same concept. We abstract technology, we democratize in the sense that you just come to us, we give you something to use for your search needs. You don't really have to go into the detail, deploy everything. That is the overall idea. But this idea will only work if you also follow a few more practices. Just doing this is not enough. You have to ensure it is self-service. Again, if you give the same multi-tenant indexes, but again you have to raise a ticket and wait 2 to 3 days, the whole thing breaks down. This whole thing occurs if it is self-service. Your platform has to be self-service, there is no other option. Support model, there has to be some sort of a central support model. Without a central support model, this thing will again break down. You need somebody to manage it centrally, that is the platform team. Center of excellence, this is also very important because many people are developers who want to use search but really don't know what is the best practices, right? How should I index, what should I do, what are the different types of sharding techniques that I use. Again, the center team, the platform team can also double down as somebody who can also give consulting advice. You don't just need to give infra, you can also give consulting advice as well. And finally, cost attribution, this is also important. In the multi-tenant setups, it is very important that if 10 teams are consuming me, I can very accurately say, okay, you need to pay me 500 rupees, you need to pay me 200 rupees. So the cost attribution is and it's very complicated thing to do. This is like the most complicated thing for us, right? And when we are doing this is the most important because at the end of the day, you are not providing every single person a full cluster, right? You are now doing a lot of complex abstractions in the middle. So there needs to be a way that you can basically point to the cost it's inheriting. So again, key takeaway message is that what I'm trying to say is that can we elevate search from just an infra component or something like I go to the AWS console, deploy an AWS OpenSearch to a commodity? Can I make it a multi-tenant construct that can be accessed at the platform level? And if I can do that, then this abstraction will ensure that the developers can just focus on using search. They don't care about all of the maintenance and everything, right? That is the whole idea with the platform perspective. With this, again, I'm coming to the last section, which is the closing thoughts. So it's not that on day one you can kind of do this. As I said, right, we started in 2018. There is a lot of stuff you have to do before you can go to this level of abstracting something. So there is a concept of platform maturity. So you mature from provisional A to B to C to D. Just like everything else, there is a maturity curve. You have to acknowledge that on day one, you might not have everything in place. You have to set up stuff step by step so that over time you can go from, let's say, provisional to optimizing. And this is all published in the CNCF platform working group. So you can go through this. And as I said, what we are now thinking, which is again another step ahead of the curve. So what I said search as a commodity, right? What I said is that OpenSearch cluster, I don't care, I go somewhere, I click a button, I get an OpenSearch index or OpenSearch domain, whatever. What we are now saying is that why are people asking for OpenSearch? They're asking to index and search some sort of data. If the data is already available in the enterprise, can I provide a pre-indexed cluster as an offering? So most of the enterprises, right, they don't handle new data. They might need some standard billing data already, some standard observability data. Can I pre-create those clusters and not just offer domain on index as a service? Can I offer a full-fledged index data set? The entire data set has been indexed by the platform team, and I am providing you payroll data, I am providing you logging data, I am providing you banking data. So this sort of a concept is where we are going to, and I will end this again. This is very important. This is what I was trying to say, right? That the technology is obviously important, right? But the final thing is the experience that you create with the technology. Right? Nobody really cares whether using Elasticsearch or OpenSearch or let's say even Azure Search, whatever, right? They're very important. We need to take a lot of design decisions to do it. But end of the day is that how easy you have made the life of the developer who is consuming your offering. Can he just click a few buttons and get to it, or does he have to, let's say, wait 2 to 3 weeks without zero guidance to get to this? That is the difference. The experience that you are giving to your consumers is what is the most important. Again, thank you so much for all of your time. I hope you found this useful, and if any questions, more than happy to kind of answer them. Thank you.